'Cause these are my people, and this is my land. This is my land. And this is what we pray for, and this is God's plan. This is God's plan. And if you ain't from here, then you won't understand. You won't understand. This is my country. This is who I am. So welcome to my house. Lord have mercy, Lord have mercy.
What is going on, guys? Welcome back to another episode of the podcast. Everybody out there is doing well, and thank you so much for tuning in today's episode. Today's episode is a little bit different. I actually have somebody else on the show, and we're talking about things that are happening right now. And I wanted to get into a lot more stuff, but I think this is a good starter episode, and we're definitely going to have him on again. And it was a really good episode. I really did enjoy, and I think I'm going to have a lot more guests on. I think it's a lot easier on you guys listening, and it's a lot easier on me. But it was a really good episode. So I had on Luke. He hosts a podcast called Life, Liberty, Real Talk. It's over on Spotify. Or I think it's pretty much everywhere on YouTube too, and everywhere podcasts are offered, I'm pretty sure. I put the links in the description of this episode if you want to follow him on social media and listen to his show. And, this is a real conversation, a real raw conversation. I'm still trying to get used to Zoom and stuff like that. I'm a lot better in real life, but, I do have a speech problem. I do have a speech early on, I have struggled with stuttering and stuff like that, and that's why I started this podcast to begin with, is to work on that. And I don't know if you guys know that, but that's why I'm here, and I'm just passionate about a lot of things, politics and news and country music and things like that. And I thought it would be a way to help me with that. And it definitely did help, because if you go back and listen to it's not up anymore. It's not up on YouTube anymore. But some of the first episodes that I did was I think 4 years ago, 2017, May of 2017 was the first episode, and it was brutal. But that's why I don't give Biden a hard time as much, is because he does struggle with that. And I kind of have some sympathy, but at the same time, he does have dementia. I mean, it's pretty clear he does have some problems with that. So, but a lot of the times when conservatives make fun of him or put stuff on social media, I kind of like, well, he can't, like, there is a difference between a speech problem and not remembering someone's name. Like, I can remember someone's name, but he just has a problem getting it out sometimes. But I kind of like, I don't like, I feel sorry for Biden, honestly, like 100%. Like, I think it's just sad. I don't really see the comedy in it anymore. And so anyway, I just wanted to warn you for this podcast, because I do struggle with that. I just want to be honest with you. And but this episode was great. And at the end of the episode, there were some technical difficulties, and I kind of had to edit out some parts to make it make sense. But you can't really notice it. But before we get into this episode is brought to you by OKPatriot76.com. Of course, I have coffee, and I just dropped a new merch, like a new design. And if you just, go check out the store. If you don't like anything, don't buy anything. But if you see something that you absolutely love, just go and buy it, and go support the podcast if you want to do that. But just listening and leaving a rating on iTunes and sharing the podcast means all the world to me. So I really do appreciate that. So like I said, it's Luke from Real Life Liberty Talk. Here is the show. And I may do another episode to talk about some things that I wanted to talk about that's happening this weekend. But until next time, thank you for listening. Here's the show.
Go listen to the episode that I'm about to upload on my podcast. It's all about confidence and just fucking dominating shit.
Yeah, like I was listening to it earlier. It's a pretty good show.
Appreciate it. I switched it to like a personal professional development type deal.
That's awesome.
Because, around this area, it's just so many people are super liberal and that's going to resonate more. But all right, third time's the charm.
Okay.
Take 3. You got this.
All right. What is going on, guys? Welcome back to the show. Hope everybody out there is doing well. And I'm joined by Luke.
Hey, what's going on, guys?
Hey. So you said you're in Iowa?
Yes, sir. From the smack dab middle of the country, Iowa City, where the Grand University of Iowa is. And let me tell you, it is a political opposite community from myself and you. So it can be enjoyable at times. I love pissing people off, but at the same time, it can get really annoying being the minority thought group and being attacked on a daily basis. So, it's kind of fun, but it's also, you got to know your shit. Otherwise, people can get a leg up on you,
Yeah, I bet. Yeah, it's crazy. Like little pockets of the country, like Idaho. Like there's the little pocket right by the Oregon border is like really liberal, and the rest is like red.
Yeah, there's like 3 pockets of blue in Iowa. The 3 big cities ish, I guess, but then the rest of it's just farm country and a bunch of good old boys around there. So. I do like Iowa City though, because it has that kind of big city feel, a little bit, where we have a decent downtown. We got the university, we got a good area, but then I drive 15 minutes and I'm in a cornfield. So, you get best of both worlds around here, which is kind of nice.
Yeah, that's how it is in Oklahoma here. Like Tulsa, OKC is like really blue. Rest is like pretty much real red. So
there you go.
So today's St. Patrick's Day, and I forgot to wear green. So I guess you can pinch me or whatever over Zoom.
So do I. I got my green undies on, so we're good there.
Yeah, we're good. But I was reading a tweet from Matt Walsh earlier, and he was trolling the Embassy of Ireland.
And on St. Patty's Day of all days.
Yeah, and he said, well, I'll just read you what he said. I put it up on my Instagram. I don't know if people saw it, but. If you don't have any Irish blood, then you cannot relate to the Irish, what like the Irish lived. And they were saying that culture appreciation is not culture
appropriation.
Yeah, basically.
See,
and I don't understand that. Like, if you do blackface or if you do if you wear like a sombrero, it's racist. But if you dress up for St. Patrick's Day, it's fine.
I don't know. I mean, I think I have dueling views on that though, because blackface,
it's a little different. Yeah,
it's a little different just because of the connotations it has behind it.
Right.
If you're, let's say, Robert Downey Jr. in the movie Thunder, whatever the hell, you know the movie I'm talking about.
Yeah.
But in that movie, he did blackface technically, but like it was a good performance. I don't think anybody's really faulting him for that.
Right.
But when you do like the stereotypical blackface, like minstrel shows back in the day where they had the exaggerated features, the big nose, the big lips, the big, that I can see being racist. And those things kind of ended up getting tied in with each other.
Yeah.
Another reason is Irish people, they just don't give a shit. They don't really get offended by anything. Yeah. All they want to do is give us the ability to have an excuse to get drunk on a Wednesday, or whatever day St. Patty's Day falls on. So
yeah, I think the one last they canceled Aunt Jemima and all these things, but I don't think they're going to cancel Lucky Charms,
Yeah, no shit. That's racist. Yeah. I mean, Lucky Charms is a stereotypical Irish dude. Like we should cancel him for appropriating Irish culture by being a leprechaun.
Yeah.
That's my biggest thing with this whole cancel culture movement is just people pick and choose what offends them on any given day. There's no systematic reasoning to anything. It's like, oh, this one little comment triggered me, so I'm going to rally around a bunch of people and I'm going to go cancel them. But this comment over here, although it offends some people, it doesn't offend me, so I don't care. I'm just going to push that aside. There's no systematic way. It's like Dr. Seuss, no go. WAP, celebrated. Like, let's all celebrate our wet ass pussies as 12-year-old girls, but then Dr. Seuss is trying to indoctrinate our children.
Right. What? Yeah, I think they're running out of things to talk about and kind of cancel, I guess. So, and it's just really getting stupid. I
agree, and I love that there's finally the right has got some nuts, and we're starting to push back on cancel culture and not entertain it, because that's, if you don't give them a platform to cancel people, at the end of the day, it'll fizzle out.
Right. Yeah, it's like the Bill Burr thing. I don't know if you saw that. He was given an award on the Grammys and they asked him to announce the nominees for like Latin artists, and he like butchered the names, and they were calling it racist or whatever. And he's married to a black woman, so I don't understand how he's racist.
Oh my goodness, he doesn't know how to pronounce a name.
Yeah.
Like, okay, cool. Did he practice? Did they give him the names beforehand, or did they just toss him up on stage and say, hey, go read these?
I don't know.
Probably the latter.
Yeah.
Sorry,
I didn't watch it, and
neither did I.
Yeah. I don't think nobody does anymore.
No, the ratings have just tanked year after year after year.
And I think his wife on Twitter told this one guy to F off, because he was like, well, even though he's married to a black woman, it means that he's actually covering up the fact that he's actually racist or some crap like that. I don't know, but she's like, F off.
They just, dude, the people on the far left, they just pick at things, and they're picking for straws, and it's just ridiculous. Like, my question is, where does it end? Because right now, I don't see an end in sight. I see it getting worse, not better. And who it's going to hurt are like our generation's children.
Right.
Like, we are growing up in an era where half of us are kind of jumping on the bandwagon. Half of us are kind of realizing, okay, maybe this is kind of weird, but our kids, they're fucked.
Yeah, it's going to be
because they're just going to get this stuff shoved down their throat every single day. And right now, I mean, I don't know about you in Oklahoma, but in Iowa, like, there's a lot of pressure for me to assimilate with their culture and accept everything that they want me to accept and think the way they do. Maybe it's because I'm in a college town, but if you go against the grain and you say that you necessarily don't believe that people can just decide they're a boy or a girl or whatever, that is the worst thing you can possibly say. If you say that you're against Black Lives Matter as an organization itself, the entity of it, but you still agree with equality amongst races, that's terrible. That's racist. There's so much pressure to assimilate. And if you're not strong-willed and willing to stand up for what you believe in, you're going to cave. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, I mean, one of the things I have a problem with is like this transgender stuff that's in like the schools. They're teaching kids that it's okay to do that.
And you know what? If you want to teach kids that like this is a thing, at the end of the day, do whatever the hell you want that's going to make you happy. But don't tell me that, like, okay, let's say you identify as a female, but you look the way you do. When I meet you, I'd have no idea. You look like a male. You never told me that you identified as a female. So obviously, meeting you, I'm going to address you as he. If I had no prior knowledge that you identified as a female and I address you as he, and then you get pissed off at me for misgendering you, that's happened to me a couple times. It's like,
really?
It's like, my apologies. If you would have told me, like, I'm going to be respectful. I'm going to be respectful. If you tell me,
right, I
would like to be identified or addressed as she, do I agree with it? Not really, but I'm not going to be a dick. I'm going to respect it. Right. I'm going to call you what you want. But for me to not have prior knowledge of that, and then you still to get mad at me for misgendering you, where do you get off at? I don't understand why, how am I supposed to know?
Well, I guess they need to wear shirts at all times. Just say their preferred gender. I guess.
No kidding.
Just wear it
In
on their hat.
In every class at Iowa here, it's first day of class, go over the syllabus, introduce yourself, and give your pronouns.
Really?
I skip that part. I just say, hey, I'm Luke. I'm a business major.
That's
and everybody's
crazy.
like waiting for me to say I identify as, and I'm just like,
I guess I have to do that now. That's crazy.
It's also ridiculous that the amount of the population that is transgender or even is a part of the LGBTQ and then all the other letters they tied onto the end of it, people a part of that community, is a very small percentage of the grand population.
Mm-hmm.
And yet we're forcing everybody to go way out of their way to meet them right there. And it's like, again, I have no problem with it. If you want to come to me and say, hey, I prefer this, I'm going to respect it. But why are we almost shoving it down everybody's throats because of how small the community is? That's the part that I haven't been able to wrap my head around. Why is it such a big, broad thing when it's only a small percentage of the community that actually identifies in this little group?
Right. I don't understand why I have to cater to them. I have no problem with being gay. I have two cousins that are gay. I have no problem, but I think it's funny. Like, have you heard about this super straight deal?
Yeah.
Yeah. They have a problem with that now.
TikTok on it.
Yeah. I think people are getting banned over being super straight on TikTok.
I saw a TikTok and it was a guy, it showed have you seen the graph that's like super straight? Yeah. And he goes, so if super straight means that as a straight male, I tend to, go towards female, then see, at the end of the day, straight females, they like dick. And to me, that's a little gay. So I go after lesbian females. So I'm ultra straight.
Yeah, I mean, I don't understand because they have like all these genders, like, like hundreds of genders or whatever, like genders, and then we can't have this super straight deal. It's just funny.
That again boils down to like, it's almost becoming a bad quality to be a straight white male in America.
Absolutely.
And you know what? At the end of the day, like, I get it. Different groups in the minority have faced challenges in the past. Totally understand that.
Right.
And I'm a huge proponent of everyone is equal under God. He made us all in the way that he wanted to. And so we should treat everybody else like equals. That seems like common sense to me.
Right.
Are there still racists in the world? Are there still sexists in the world? Of course. But in my opinion, your average normal person truly believes that everyone, for the most part, is equal. And which side of the spectrum is actually focusing on race, gender, sexuality, orientation, whatever, and which side of the coin is focused just on, I'm judging people by character? The left is so hyper focused on race, so hyper focused on sexuality, orientation, gender, that it's like that almost becomes racist to a degree, to me at least. When I meet you, I don't care what color you are. You could be brown, white, green, purple, orange. I don't give a shit. I'm going to judge you based on your character and your actions. Those two components. That's it. Yeah. Where did we lose that as a society?
Yeah, I mean, I don't understand why the left keeps on bringing up race. I mean, I think we should just judge people, just like Martin Luther King Jr. I mean, judge people on the content of their character. I mean, it's a really simple concept.
Yeah, and I think it started with Obama.
Right.
During the 8 years of the Obama presidency, I truly believe race relations in this country took about a 30-year back step.
Yeah.
And it's gotten to the point where they know that if they create this whole racial tension in the media and design it to sell to the public, that it's going to catch, it's going to create tension. And it comes down to like in my opinion, their whole plan with the whole COVID scare and all that stuff. It
Right.
was, is COVID real? Yes. But okay, COVID's a thing. Create mass panic about it. Step 1. Step 2, lock everybody down in their houses. Step 3, what are everybody going to be doing when they're in their houses? Watching TV. Who controls the media? The left. Spew narrative to divide the country with Black Lives Matter, with cancel culture, with all this stuff. Put all that in motion. Get people to hate each other for what side of the aisle they're on. Then put Joe Biden in as president, spew all the hate about Trump. They're trying to divide us. And if we would just wake the fuck up and just come together as people, we'd be so much better off.
Yeah, I totally agree. Seems like every story with race, like I don't know if you saw that thing here in Oklahoma with the basketball team.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that was like NBC kept on reposting that article like every hour. It was crazy. But I guess we can talk about. You want to talk about that Steven Crowder thing that I sent you? Kind of goes along with race.
That clip was actually hilarious.
Yeah,
but
a lot of people were saying it wasn't funny.
Here's my thing with comedy. Steven Crowder, I personally think he's reputable. He does all of his research very well and all that stuff. But at the end of the day, his show is meant to be a comedic show.
Yeah.
And I think where people misunderstand comedy is a comedian's job at the end of the day is there's a societal line right here of what you can and cannot say. And comedian's job is to butt right up on that line and get as controversial as possible without stepping over the line. But then going back to the whole cancel culture thing, like if the line was here 20 years ago and a comedian butted up to it, but then now the line moved in 2021, but you're going to cancel that comedian for what he said 20 years ago or she when the line was over here, I personally don't think that's right.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, Steven Crowder is a comedy show. Was something that, what were the things that he said kind of racially sensitive? Yeah, they were. But at the end of the day, they're jokes. He was making fun of the fact that, what the media was saying in going out of their way to help these minority farmers that, apparently are being discriminated against. And I haven't done any research into minority farmers, so I truly don't know whether they are or they aren't. But
I don't know either. I think it's great if they need help, and that's great. But just everybody on Twitter just losing their minds over it's crazy.
Steven Crowder has a keen ability to continually get canceled and actually grow in popularity.
Right. It's like the Alex Jones effect.
Yeah.
The more you get canceled, the more it's just crazy.
The Alex Jones effect, except without the whole the government is employing frogs to make them gay.
Right. Yeah. But did you see that thing with Joe Biden where he was doing a press conference, or not a press conference, but like the press was interviewing him and his hand went through the microphone? Did you see that? A lot of people were on TikTok and social media was saying it was like a CGI, like a green screen thing.
At this point, man, I wouldn't doubt it.
I don't know.
There's nothing that could happen at this point that would surprise me. With the climate in politics as it is right now, you could tell me that Joe Biden is not even alive and they found a way to work him as a puppet, and I'd be like, I can see it,
Yeah. And there's also this weird theory a lot of people are talking on social media with his earlobes. Like a long time ago they were not attached, and now they're attached.
I didn't notice that, but
I don't know. People look into stuff a lot too much.
I know. I think that's another big problem is so many people on both sides are just grasping for anything they can get their hands on, when really, if you just take something at face value, there's information in and of itself right there.
Yeah.
Joe Biden stumbling over every word and not being able to formulate an entire sentence by himself. Take that at face value. He can't formulate a sentence. Have your opinion form on that. On the right, don't go and grasp for straws and saying that they're giving him surgery on his ears and all this. You know what I mean? Like that just, that doesn't serve anybody. And at the end of the day, if we as the right go down to their level and try and nitpick everything with Biden, just like they did with Trump, we're no better.
Right.
But if we go after his speech, his policy, his, all the laundry list of things that I believe that he's done terribly wrong in this short duration of his presidency so far, that's where the problems actually lie.
Yeah, it's kind of like that QAnon thing.
Oh, yeah.
Where they think he's like Trump is actually Biden. They think he's still in office, or they think he's coming back on March 20th in a couple days.
Honestly,
yeah, I think that's like the stupidest thing.
I would love it, but not gonna happen.
I lost a bunch of people during the election because I'm like, Biden's gonna win, and they're like, no, he's not.
So I started to make a bunch of predictions during the last, during 2020, during the year right before COVID, and all of them came true to the point where my boss Cody would start videoing me with all my predictions so that he could keep them and come back to them. And like, the whole COVID, the lockdowns, the second wave, the double masks, the vaccine, all that stuff. The one thing that didn't come true, and in my opinion, it's because the election was a little sketchy at best.
Yeah.
But what I thought was going to happen is Trump was going to take a commanding lead. That happened. In the middle of the night when all the mail-in ballots were getting tabulated, and over the next couple of days, Biden was going to start coming back, and then it wasn't going to be enough and Trump was going to win. That was my prediction. Didn't end up happening. Still to this day, I have questions on the integrity of the election, whether true or not. I wish it would be looked into. Biden could have very well won. And if that is the truth, it wasn't on his own accord. It was because of the media tabulating this hatred for Trump in our society. But the fact that it wasn't even looked into, that's the point that kind of irks me a little bit, is if you have nothing to hide, don't hide it.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of my problem. Like, I think that we need to look into it, but the Supreme Court just like throws out these cases like there's no tomorrow. So,
and the whole Georgia thing that just came up the other day, did you see that with the full tape coming out of Trump's phone call with the Georgia AG?
I saw it. I just didn't look into it.
How the Washington Post got a hold of the phone call, but it was snippets of the phone call, and it made it sound like Trump was kind of, forcing them to, if you don't take a look at this, like you need to, or XYZ is going to happen. And then they found the entire phone call in the trash of somebody's server or whatever. And it showed that he practically said what I thought he said all along. And it's like, hey, we've found these discrepancies. Look into them, please. Like, just do your job. I'm presenting these to you. We've found these discrepancies that we believe to exist. Can you look into them? And then the Georgia government ended up actually lying to the media, to everybody, saying like, oh, no, that's what he said. He said exactly what was in the Washington Post article.
Yeah.
The fact that more and more stuff like that has been coming out over the last few months or so, it's scary to think that people are just turning a blind eye.
Yeah. And I think that's all what Trump supporters want. They just want them to look into it. And if Trump really lost, then I think it would be fine with it. But the problem is they just don't want to touch it.
Yeah. And I truly, I can't speak for every Trump supporter.
Right.
But for me, if it came out that he truly did lose and that every vote was perfectly fine and legal, cool. You know what? I
Yeah.
got no problem with that. He lost. He could have done better. He could have won, you know? But it just that, the fact that we don't truly know.
Right.
And the funniest part is, when Hillary lost to Trump, the whole left for the next 2-3 years was like, oh, he didn't actually win. That was bullshit. We need to look into that. Then as soon as we say it, it's like, whoa, what are you guys doing? You guys are trying to disrupt the integrity of our country by saying the election was fraudulent. Like,
Yeah, I mean, I don't understand that. Like, they can say it, but you can't say it now on YouTube or anything like that. You can say it's borrowed, but you can't say it's stolen.
oh, that's another thing too, the
Yeah.
censorship and
Yeah.
the fact that we all know what's going on.
Right.
During that kind of purge when Parler went down and when they were purging Twitter for conservative ideology,
Right.
I lost like 250 followers.
Yeah, I
Granted,
think
I
I
didn't
lost like
start-
about the same. Yeah.
I didn't start with very many. I mean, I think I
Yeah.
had like 500, but I lost 200, 300 followers, and now I'm starting to get it back. I'm up to like the just under 400 range, but it's like,
Yeah.
really?
Yeah. I mean, it sucks, man. And they say it's like QAnon, they're purging like the QAnon accounts, but even I get blamed for being QAnon. I don't really buy into anything they say. I mean, like some stuff I like what they say, but I don't really believe that.
Yeah, I mean, would it be awesome if it was true that Trump took back the presidency and on
Yeah, I mean,
March
I'm waiting
20th?
for it, man. Like,
It'd be awesome. I'd be like, oh, hell yeah, our country's going to be all right after all. But
yeah.
I'm not banking on it to happen. And at the end of the day, whoever's president, I'm still going to do whatever I can in my power to just live my life and absolutely dominate in business, in health, in school, in life, in everything.
Right.
But it's at the end of the day, it's not going to affect me. Is it going to make it harder to excel in business with all of Biden's tax differences and hikes and all that stuff? Sure, I'm going to make less money. Just got to work harder. If Trump was president, would it be easier for me as a small business owner to excel? 100%. But I just got to work harder. That's not an issue.
Right.
My issue is the rationale behind the mind of somebody on the right versus the mind of somebody on the left. The people on the left play into the victim mentality of it's never my fault that X, Y, Z happened in my life. On the right, for the most part, these are general ideologies. It's not every single person on either side, but on the right, it's accountability. I control my own destiny. Whatever work I put in is the output that I get. That used to be the American dream. Work your ass off, be amazing, have a good life, have a great family. Now it's school is way too expensive. I'm being discriminated against. The government needs to give me shit. Where was that flip and why did none of us notice it happening?
Now the American dream is racist.
Yeah.
To certain people. Or like being a American and waving the American flag. Like, you don't even have to put a Trump sign in your yard anymore to know who they support.
Yeah.
Yeah.
An American flag is now the new conservative icon.
Yeah.
And when did it become, I mean, even like I'm 22 now. When I was 18 in high school, it's like we did a project in physics class. It was a catapult, and I wanted to paint it American flag colors. And the people in my group were like, well, we don't want to offend anybody. And I'm like, offend anybody? Where do you live right now? Where are you going to school? What country is this that's giving us a free education in high school? Oh, America? Yeah, that's what I thought. Yeah, we all of us here, we live here in America. Why is that going to offend anybody?
I don't understand. I mean, I get that you hate Trump, but this has just gone too far. Hating the American flag just because you hate Trump is just ridiculous.
It's the fact that people think it's acceptable to burn our nation's flag. If there's one thing that I just cannot stand, it's somebody who's reaping the benefits of this amazing country, one of the easiest countries to excel as long as you're willing to put in the work, and then turning around and shitting on it because of their political beliefs.
Yeah.
I don't understand. You don't like it? Go move somewhere else with socialist ideology and see how long it takes you before you get beheaded because you disagree with your government.
Yeah.
You know, people that hate the military, it's like, great. Guess who gave you the right and who protects your right to have that belief? The military. Wow. Oh, that's a weird fucking thing to think. But yet, it's completely okay to just denigrate our military, burn the American flag, and then turn around and reap the benefits of our country, which, you know, is a price that we are going to pay for having the freedoms that we have. There are going to be people that always say that, but it's like, dude, why? I can't wrap my head around that. It's hypocritical at best.
Yeah, I mean, why are there like millions of people coming through Texas right now, into Texas at the border? I mean, because their country sucks.
Yeah. Simple as that. Oh, then the border is another story.
Yeah.
So when Trump was in office, you know, the migrant children that were being held apart from their quote families to make sure that they were with their families and not, you know, people stealing them and bringing them into America for sex slavery, because that happens. That was the most racist thing in the world. But now Biden's holding over 4,000 migrant children in facilities. Nobody cares, you know.
Yeah, it's like up 700% or something like that.
And it was finally on the news,
Yeah.
but the rhetoric was so different. You know, on CNN when it was happening during the Trump administration, it was Trump is so racist. He's holding migrant children apart from their families against their will. And now I was watching CNN at the gym the other day, and I just saw a headline, and all it said were Biden holding 4,000 migrant children in facilities at the border, and they were talking about it. The rhetoric is so different.
They just worship this guy, Biden. I mean, even with the stimulus deal, they're like, "Oh, he's ending poverty."
No, he's ending poverty by giving us all like a little tiny fraction of a $1.9 billion plan that gives money to everybody other than Americans.
Yeah, I mean, why are they like the immigrants and like prisoners and all these people getting $1,400?
I don't understand that.
Yeah,
You know, if you're an illegal immigrant,
you shouldn't get anything.
Came into this country illegally, you have more rights and an easier time to excel right now as it sits than regular Americans. You could get it. There are illegal immigrants who have been charged with rape, murder, whatever, and they don't even get deported.
Yeah, that's what I mean. I don't understand that, but I mean, I did read an article the other day where they were sending people back to Mexico. They were dropping them off at the border and saying, "Walk back to Mexico."
Oh, in the Biden administration?
Yeah, just a few days ago.
Oh, wow. They better not let that one leak. Otherwise, people are going to say that's racist.
It was like a mainstream, I can't remember what it was. It was a mainstream outlet that was, I don't know. I can't remember what it was.
It's hilariously hypocritical to me that even Biden doing the exact same things that Trump did and the public perception of the same exact things.
Yeah, I mean, even they were like, whenever Trump got into office, they were criticizing because like he was mentally unstable or something, like for office.
At least
then they don't say anything about Biden. Yeah,
it's ridiculous.
I don't know if you follow the Twitter account Biden L's.
Yes,
dude, that's my favorite account.
So funny. I follow that one. I follow liberal women L's. I follow liberal L's. All those are so funny.
Yeah, it's the most ridiculous.
I saw a tweet the other day on the liberal L's, and it was a screenshot of a gal that tweeted, all of you guys that are so obsessed with keeping your guns and to protect you from people with guns. If there are no guns, you don't need to protect yourself from people with guns. It's like, So like,
What?
did you know that if somebody's about to rob you, like all you have to say is no because they can't rob you without your consent. It's illegal. Oh, wait, they're going to do it anyway because they're criminals? Oh, wow, that is a really weird idea.
Yeah.
Criminals are always going to get the guns if they want them. So
Yeah,
why
like I
not
saw. Yeah.
why not allow us to have 'em?
Yeah, like I saw a meme the other day and it was like criminals in a gun-free zone or like whenever gun control happens and it's the same picture of a guy with a gun.
It's so funny. That is so funny.
Yeah.
I can't even begin to compartmentalize any of this stuff. It is just so it's a ping pong match. 1 week they'll have this idea, the next week they'll have this idea, the next week they'll have this idea, and it goes back and forth and back and forth. And depending on who does the specific thing that they're mad about, it's either the best thing in the world or racist, terrible, misogynistic, homophobic. It all depends on which side of the aisle the person that happens to do it is.
Hmm.
And that's ridiculous to me.
Well, it's just like with Biden with the Tara Reid deal. They completely ignored it, but they're destroying Cuomo right now for the same thing. Which I don't
I
even
know.
think there's anything there with Cuomo, honestly. But I think they're doing that because of the nursing home deal.
It's it's almost getting to the point where you can't help but laugh.
Yeah.
As scary as the future of this country could potentially be for our children, you can't help but sit back and just ironically laugh at all the hypocriticalness, and it is worrisome. I am truly worried in not, in the next 4 years what's going to happen, but in the next 20 years if we continue on this path, what our country's going to look like.
Yeah.
And it's funny to me that people so blindly follow what Biden says, what Dr. Fauci says, what Kamala Harris says. It's like Biden could go on CNN and say, "Hey, if you wear a pink diaper on the outside of your pants, you can't get COVID." And the next day we'd see thousands and thousands and thousands of people in every city in America wearing pink diapers walking around.
Yeah, I mean it's crazy. Like they don't even question it. Like they can probably come out and say, "Eat 2 jars of mayonnaise to cure COVID," and you wouldn't find mayonnaise anywhere in the store. It's just the stupidest thing.
It honestly, it boils down to just people are lazy.
Yeah.
They don't want to go out and learn for themselves, and they're willing to just be indoctrinated by news media that used to be reputable. There was a time in this country, even since you and I have been alive, where what was said on CNN, Fox News, down the list on not their opinion pieces, but their news pieces, their news shows, was just that news. It
Mhm.
was factual. You could trust it. Nowadays, on any of them, Fox, CNN, NBC, ABC, MSNBC, whatever, you just truly don't know.
Yeah.
And so being willing to go out and do your own research is so critical nowadays in just being aware of what's going on. And with COVID, people are at so many different stages of their worry levels and them being afraid and all that stuff. And I totally get that because of the rhetoric that's been spewed.
Yeah.
Is COVID real? Yes. If you're old, if you have prior health conditions, is it something that you should actually be worried about? Of course. Like it could actually harm you. But so could the flu to an extent. So could a cold, so could pneumonia, so could, go down the laundry list of things. But to me personally, as a 22-year-old healthy individual who exercises, eats right, does everything in my power to be healthy, to me personally, I'm not very worried about it. I've gotten it already. Didn't even have so much as a sniffle.
Yeah.
It didn't affect me very much. So me personally, I'm not very worried about it.
Yeah.
I haven't worn a mask in anywhere in a couple of months. I'm tired of it, and it's going to take that for people to wake up. You know, like I don't agree with being forced to wear one. I'm never going to look down on you for doing it. If that's what makes you feel safe, that's what gives you peace of mind to go out in public right now in this pandemic, by all means, go for it. Do whatever you have to make you feel safe to live your life. Me
Right.
personally, I don't see a need for it. They're uncomfortable. Can't breathe in the damn things. I'm not going to wear it.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of people were giving me hell during this whole thing on Instagram. I'm a lot bigger on Instagram, and everybody was like, what's the big deal about conservatives not wearing masks? I'm like, I'm not anti-mask. I just don't want to be forced to do something.
Exactly. That is my biggest thing. You know, if at the beginning of this whole thing, it was like, hey, we think everybody should wear a mask, and that was the end of it, you know, here are the facts. You know, masks help curb the spread.
Mhm.
I would have been like, okay, you know, I'll probably wear one when I'm in a crowded area, whatever.
Yeah.
But it's the principal fact of you can't force me to wear a mask when I'm walking down the sidewalk by myself.
Yeah, there was this story. Did you see this story? This mother in New York was dropping her kid off outside, and they took custody away from her because she weren't wearing a mask.
Are you serious?
Yeah, it's in New York. And this lady is a doctor. She's a family doctor, and they took her kids away and gave it to the father.
No shit.
It's from the Gateway Pundit.
That is so ridiculous.
I know it's getting to the point where it's like people are losing their minds over this stuff.
Oh my goodness, yeah. I walk into Walmart without a mask on, and some dude walked right up to me, got this close to my face, and started yelling at me. And I said, sir, you getting this close to my face actually is hindering what you're trying to talk about because you're within 3 inches from me. I was 10 feet away from you when you noticed the fact that I didn't have a liberal face diaper on. But then you went out of your way to come up to me and get this close to me. Like, you're making it worse for yourself and for me. You're putting us both at risk.
Yeah, I mean,
If you would just let me live my life and I'll let you live your life, we'd all be okay.
yeah, there's this one video, and there's probably more, but this one lady is following this guy around because he's not wearing a mask, and he's following him around the store and like harassing him and saying, "Put a mask on." I don't understand that. Just stay 6 feet apart and just don't have to worry about it.
I don't get it, and I will never get it.
Yeah. Did you see Trump on Fox the other day or yesterday? He was on a. They interviewed him about the vaccine and all that stuff, and
Oh yeah, how he said he was pro-vaccine.
yeah. Do you think that's going to hurt him whenever he runs again? Because a lot of conservatives don't like that.
I don't know. You know what? At the end of the day, with the vaccine, it's like me personally, I don't see a need for me to get it because of the fact that I'm, like I said, 22, I'm healthy, I'm young, and COVID
Yeah.
probably won't affect me. But I think if you are elderly, if you have prior health conditions, I think the vaccine's smart to get because it's going to give us the ability to open our country. I haven't seen enough research be done on it for the risk versus reward. But, you know, if you have those prior health conditions or if you are elderly, the risk versus reward is probably in your favor to get it. So,
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not anti-vaccine by any means.
Yeah.
What I am is I'm anti where our country is going to head, and that's going to be you're going to have to carry around your vaccine card to go on a plane, to go to a sporting event, to go
Yeah.
to a concert. That's what I have an issue with because
That's
that
what's-
seems a
That's
little
what's
bit
really
like
scary.
that seems a little bit like Germany in World War II, you know, the gold star on your
Yeah.
chest type of thing.
Show me your papers.
And that, you know, the whole what's happening to conservatives in America is obviously not as bad as what happened to the Jewish people by any means, but
Yeah.
how did Hitler and that regime start to do what they did? They drummed up public support on their issue. They convinced the public that Jewish individuals were bad. The public got a hold of it. They ran with it. They got the public to start ridiculing Jewish people. And then they started to do the atrocious things, the evil fucking things that they did. Obviously, they're not going to put conservatives in concentration camps, but they're doing a similar thing to push people to start hating us because of our political ideologies. I see it more and more and more every day.
Yeah.
And eventually it's going to get to the point where if you're a conservative, you're evil. And it's all rhetoric. None of it's true. Are there conservatives that are truly evil? Yes. Are there liberals that are truly evil? Yes. There are evil people in this world. There always will be, and there always have been. But because of the fact that I'm a conservative, I have tons of friends in this community that during this election cycle or the last one hate me now just simply for what box I ticked on the ballot. No other reason. People that I've been friends with since 3rd grade, but I voted for Trump, so we're not friends anymore and they hate me.
I hate that. Yeah, that's a really like a tragic thing. People you've been friends with for a long time and they just throw you out because you voted for some guy.
Oh, there was a guy, like, I hung out with him all through elementary school, junior high, high school. You know, I've met his parents, his grandparents, his extended family. We went to dinner at his house. He came to dinner at my house. We were good friends. And he hates me now for one reason, and one reason only. Because I voted for Trump. And apparently that makes me racist. He's a black individual.
Yeah.
And I'm automatically racist now, even though I've been friends with this kid for 15 years. Because of who I voted automatically changes the fact that I'm not his friend anymore. I'm racist now for some odd reason.
Right. Yeah. I blame the media for
There's
that.
no getting off.
I think you froze there.
Yeah. No, it is the media. And who controls the media? Who controls the media at the end of the day?
I think you froze there for a second. Are you there?
My back?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I blame the media for all this because it.
Perfect.
Okay. I don't know if it's on my end or.
I think this is probably a good place to wrap up, but this has been an awesome conversation. I think we should do this more often.
Yeah, I mean, I'm definitely going to have you on again if you're up to it. Why don't you plug your socials and all that kind of stuff where you can find the
Always
podcast?
Happy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Life, Liberty, Real Talk. Find me on all platforms. Follow me on Twitter at LifeLibertyRT, Instagram, Facebook, and go to my YouTube channel. Appreciate you having me on. And
awesome. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Yeah, we need to do this again. Have a good one, man.
All right, we'll see you later.
See you, man.